This car changed the world of luxury SUVs forever, but yet it doesn't get any recognition. It was the first SUV to truly fight the Range Rover, but yet it was hated then when it came out.
Brother,
And it still gets a lot of hate. And most importantly, you can pick up this iconic future classic SUV for 6-7% of its original sticker price. And at that point, it makes not just a car no-brainer deal, but also a great financial decision. And in this video, I'm going to share some great facts and convince you why you should pick up one of these today. And by the end of the video, I will share how much I paid for mine. Let's go. There are two significant SUVs that kickstarted the SUV trend that we have in modern world. Nowadays, 8 out of 10 cars that are being sold actually SUVs, but it wasn't like that a couple decades ago. The first true SUV that kickstarted it all was actually the original Ford Explorer. That's where SUV craze has started. But this car kickstarted another craze in the SUV world, and that is massive luxury and massive power. Today, it is very normal to see luxury SUVs from Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Aston Martin, Ferrari, Lamborghini, but it all started here. At a time when this car came out, it was crazy hard for people to comprehend that a sports car maker like Porsche is making the first SUV, and indeed it did. The first generation Porsche, which the internal code for it was 955 for the pre-facelifted, and the facelifted version was called 957, or some other car enthusiasts would refer to it as E9, was produced from 2002 when it was first introduced through 2010. And it was a really game-changing car. I don't just say just because it kick-started the ultra-luxury SUV world, but also it was ultra-fast. The top-of-the-line Porsche Cayenne Turbo S with its twin-turbo V8 made 550 horsepower and did 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds at a time for an SUV that was an unbelievable, unbearable number for people to comprehend. And that's another reason why this car should get all of the recognition it deserves. And there's one more reason why this car should get all of the recognition and why it will be a future classic. I will share that with you in a bit. But first, let's talk about some fascinating historical facts about Porsche Cayenne. What's really interesting and fascinating about the Cayenne, it was the Porsche that saved Porsche from its financial disaster at a time. It is the moneymaker they needed. See, when the founder of Porsche, Ferry Porsche, died in March of 1989, the CEO, Wendland Whitteking, just a few months later proceeded with his plans to shift Porsche from a dream maker to moneymaker. Whitteking signed a contract with Volkswagen to jointly create an SUV to compete with the Mercedes ML, which was launched in 1997, and the BMW X5, which was to be launched in 1999. Porsche would contribute more with the research and development task, and Volkswagen with the production. The plan was to build two cars on the same chassis, one sold as a Porsche and the other as a Volkswagen, in the shape of Touareg, which was essentially in its base from the same car. So by June of 2000, the Porsche SUV was named after a hot chili pepper, Cayenne. In September of 2002, the Cayenne was premiered at Paris Motor Show in France, followed by market launch in December of the same 2002 when Cayenne SUVs took over people's minds, making this SUV the moneymaker that Porsche needed. And when it was launched, it got a lot of hate immediately. It was heavily criticized, obviously, for the way it looked. People didn't like that it looked as super stretched version, the SUV version of 996, 911 at a time. Well, I don't get that. What did you expect from Porsche? Of course, they created the SUV version of their most popular two-door sports car, so there's no surprise there. I will give haters a little credit. Yeah, Porsche could have done better with its lines, but again, this was very controversial, very experimental car at a time, and it did save Porsche from its financial disaster, and they needed to create something that would look like Porsche 911 at a time. But later on in 2008, with its facelifted version, which is 957, I believe they did really well. And in my opinion, 957 Porsche is the best looking Porsche Cayenne out there. But despite all of that hate, when 955 Porsche was launched at the end of 2002 and when it ran through 2006, Porsche sold over 150,000 units of the 955 making it a tremendous success. Now, before I tell you why I bought mine and how much I paid for it, let me share some of my favorite features and design elements of the Cayenne. By the way, this is the base model V6 Cayenne. It has the same 3.2 liter V6 that Volkswagen Golf R had. That's right, this massive SUV shares the powertrain with a small little hatchback from the Volkswagen. Kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is. So my favorite feature about this SUV starts with the key. The key is very cool and very interesting. It is made in the shape of the Cayenne. Do you see the little headlights? The same heated headlights on the key fob, and then the buttons made in the shape of the windshield, the roof, and the back window. And then there's these lines basically making the shape of the windows all around. But it's such a cool little key. And nowadays there's all sorts of keys and key fobs, but at a time this was absolutely ridiculous and I absolutely love it. My second favorite feature about the Cayenne is right here in the back. I wish all modern SUVs had this feature, but unfortunately they don't anymore. So anyway, besides having this massive tailgate into your cargo space, there's this little hidden button under the rear windshield wiper. You press it and the rear window pops open. You can easily put something small into your cargo space or grab something out of it and then pop the window back in, and there you go. This is my second favorite feature about the Cayenne. And my third favorite feature about the Cayenne is when you get your quirky little key, you start the car on your left. So your left hand ready to fire up the car and your right hand ready to shift it. This coming back from all those Le Mans racing times. And I'm so happy they did it with the Cayenne as well, even though this is a very practical, big, modern SUV, but they still did it like it's a race car. And I absolutely love this feature about the Cayenne. But most importantly, I think the really benefit of the Cayenne, the first original Cayenne, is the interior quality. Yes, the exterior was heavily criticized, but there's no doubt that everyone liked the way it looked on the inside. It is tremendously luxury in here. The lines are very simple yet elegant, and in my opinion, and they age so well, not because the way it looks still, but also the quality. It is very high quality. Everything is still firm and solid, and I absolutely love this. The center console has this beautiful screen in the middle, which very old school infotainment system. It is not touchscreen, but nonetheless, at a time, this was a cutting edge technology. I absolutely love this little Porsche switch, and I absolutely love this Porsche font on the cover that hides some of the controls for the climate control. And that third reason why this car is iconic and future classic and why it changed the SUV world forever, it was the first SUV to truly fight the Range Rover, as I mentioned earlier. And even the base model like this one has the off-road mode. No Mercedes ML, no BMW X5 could do what this car did. Provide massive luxury, massive power, not this one obviously, but you know, turbo S, and off-road capability. Only Range Rover was doing that at a time, but what Range Rover wasn't doing is going fast. Speaking of going fast, we're not gonna go that fast in the base model, but let's take this car for a drive. I bought this car about 7 weeks ago. I already put 6,000 miles on it. I off-roaded in this vehicle. I road tripped in this vehicle a couple times already. Has the 7,000 miles in just about 7 weeks. But despite being V6 and base model, to be honest, it equipped like a Cayenne S or Turbo because it has the screen and everything else. But despite being V6 and underpowered, I believe it has around 240, 245 horsepower. To be honest, enjoy it. Yes, I don't go fast, but that's not the point of the base model, right? It has enough power to keep up with the traffic, and that's all I need, to be honest. And another reason why I bought mine, V6 base model, is the reliability aspect, because V8 sounds really appealing. Turbo V8 sounds even more appealing, but it comes at its price. You have to get ready to deploy some money into maintaining those cars. And I know with the 3.2 V6 that Volkswagen developed, it's a pretty solid, reliable engine. I've seen these V6 Cayennes with 220, 250, 280,000 miles, And to me, that is impressive. So another reason why I bought the base model, why I bought this car, is the fuel efficiency. As I mentioned, I travel a lot. I have been, and at a time when I bought this car, I needed a commuter, not just within the city. I was moving out of my van at a time, and I needed something that can hold a lot of stuff, which I did. I moved into this. I moved all of my stuff out of my van into this car in California. And then I was looking for a place to settle, which happened to be in Arizona now. But I still travel a lot for work, for fun, and I needed something fuel efficient. This thing gets around 28, 29, up to 30 miles per gallon on the freeway. For being old school, for one, for two, big SUV getting around 30 miles per gallon on the freeway, it's incredible. It's very impressive. And another reason why specifically this car, as I mentioned, it's equipped like a V8, like a Cayenne S or even turbo. It has different wheels, bigger wheels, and the interior is awesome. It has the screen. A lot of V6 models from the first generation 955, for V6 models, they didn't have the screen and all the amenities. It has the self-navigating headlights as well, not LEDs probably, but whatever those other ones are. So these are not halogen headlights, and a lot of V6 models have the halogen for sure. So that's another reason. And now, probably you could call this another reason for sure, is how much I paid for it. So this car had only one ownership in state of California its whole life, and it was listed for $6,500, which to me is already such a little amount of money for such a huge amount of car. It has the brand name, obviously it's ultra luxury, it's capable off-road, it's a great daily driver for sure. I believe this car with its equipment was around $50,000, maybe 46, 48. In today's money, it's way above $75,000. You can buy that for like less than 10% of its original sticker price. Absolutely insane to me. But I didn't pay $65,000. I was able to negotiate. I had little issues on the seats. It was a little worn, so I repaired the seats, which cost me literally $200. And that's it. That's all I did. I did the oil change. I put a little bit into it, less than $500, but I paid $45,000 after all the negotiation, which is insane value for this car, under $5,000, and it drives nice. Right now I'm driving in the city and it is great. It doesn't feel like a Range Rover. It's a little rougher, but it's like more sportier version of a Range Rover, I believe. And at the same time, it is a super capable off-road. Even with the V6, I off-roaded in the mountains of California, and it was awesome. The original Porsche Cayenne might be controversial. It might be ugly in your opinion, but one fact you cannot take away from this car: it did indeed change the world forever. And mark my words, this iconic SUV is a future classic, and you should pick one of these up while they're pennies on a dollar. And if you want to find out what other car you can buy for under $5,000 that provides same luxury and performance with a great V8, you should watch this video here. I'll see you here.